I'm sorry. Imagine that Albaz anime though.
I mean, people are just look at the comments on the video.
Like, chat. How many of you guys would love to see an Albaz anime, or maybe Sky Striker or Elemental Heroes? I don't know what.
Yeah,
Something like that.
something modern. Wait, so first of all, the most important thing to say, like why James is even here talking to us, is because we are working on a pretty exciting project together. So I saw, like, I ran into him on Twitter, saw that he's like a voice actor for, many things, including like a Yu-Gi-Oh show as well. And you guys probably remember that I did the Albaz movie, and now I'm working on the Visa Starfrost movie. We also had a debate today on how to pronounce the word visas or visas, depending on who you're asking.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah.
don't want people on the line going after you off of something like that, right?
I mean, this is exactly why I did the poll. I did a poll on Twitter asking people. All right. I was asking the people, how do you pronounce it? And there's no like official pronunciation anyway, right? There's no like Konami released. I don't have the book here; it's downstairs. But they released a thing called the Valuable Book, which is they release it like every season. I think maybe once a year. I'm not even sure. And they have all the lore there. They have like images of all the archetypes and stuff. But they write it down. But they're maybe like the only way we can find a pronunciation, but that's going to be in Japanese as well. It's not even going to be in English. Is when they do like sometimes when they release new shows, new sets, they do like a live show where they present the cards. Maybe somebody talks about it there. But
it makes sense.
With Yu-Gi-Oh lore, I think it's a lot like up to us to come up with the gaps, like fill in the gaps, because they don't really tell you enough. Was it when you started working on Sevens? How familiar were you with Yu-Gi-Oh?
I was pretty familiar with it. I watched the show. I watched Duel Monsters. In college, I watched GX, and that's when I started playing the game. But then I kind of dropped off once 5Ds came around, mostly because of two reasons. Number one, I was a broke college student, so I couldn't afford the cards they were asking me to get to keep up. Actually, I think I stopped playing around the time. What was the name? Tour Guide from the Underworld was released.
Oh, that's Extreme Victory.
That's a Premier Xyz card.
Oh, okay.
I remember that card specifically.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way I can pay for this and still go to college.
It was expensive.
Okay. And then I think I never was really successful in the card game from a competitive standpoint, but the closest I ever got to feeling like I could do something was around the time they started banning key components of the Frog Synchro deck.
Ooh, interesting.
Because that's when I started trying to take it seriously. And like I said, I don't have a lot of money, so I can't afford to pivot and buy new things at the time.
Yeah.
So once I went there and did pretty decent with a Frog Synchro, I think I was using Trishula and all these things, and I was like, okay, I may not win, but at least I'll be competitive. And then they started banning my cards, so I got tight. So I got very upset, and I was like, okay, well, I guess that's it for me. That's a wrap. I'll just play casually.
That's not nice of them. That's really not.
No,
nice.
Not very nice.
Not very nice.
Very not nice.
Did you feel like
to be
you
fair,
had,
wasn't it kind of stupid though? Wasn't that kind of like the concept of that deck kind of broken at the time?
Oh, like frogs? Frog
Yeah,
synchro?
frogs and
I think you're a little bit more OG than I am. I mean, I didn't play back then. I came back into the game. I left. So I started playing at the very beginning. But I left before Xyz Monsters came out, and I returned after Link Monsters came in. So basically, I missed out on all the middle part of everything.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
So I don't remember that time. You feel like you had, because are other voice actors who worked with you also played the game, or were you like the only one?
I believe I know they're all familiar with it, in some degree. I don't remember if any of them actually played it. Actually, trying to remember. I know one of them. At least I believe they play and cosplay Yu-Gi-Oh stuff at one point. I don't know if they still do. Jen, who voices Asuna,
Sick.
voices. I mean, she played. I know I've seen cosplay of her. With that character, or was it Mai? I think she did some of my cosplays at one point.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, I would imagine it's like,
Yeah.
in a good way, probably kind of a geeky environment to be in. I mean, anime voice actors, we all got a little bit of geek inside us because we love it.
Yeah, I would say so. I was definitely very much a nerd. Probably still a nerd right now, actually. Just hopelessly just infinite nerd energy over here.
And we're all look at what we're doing. We're all nerds, all a bunch of nerds.
True, true.
But
Yeah.
being a nerd is cool. 2023, a cool thing to do.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's what I heard. That's the rumor.
that's
I've
what
heard
they tell
legends
me.
Speaking in dark corners of the room.
That's what they tell me. Mom still doesn't believe it, but I know deep down it's true. But besides that, any cool new exciting projects they're working on?
I'm supposed to be working with this YouTube content creator on something. I forget his name, but he's pretty popular.
He's okay.
He's all right. Yeah, he's all right.
He's all right.
He's a nerd.
Yeah,
Big nerd.
big nerd.
Outside of that, I can't really talk about much. I try to keep everything I do secret, just in case. I don't want any issues with people saying you were supposed to say this anytime soon. So even if it's not in a contract, for example, I don't even want to risk it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I am doing some voiceover for like YouTube channels every once in a while. Yeah, so I try to keep that on private for the time being. But outside of that and just auditioning, and I have a day job just like you. So outside of those things, which I normally keep private, I just don't say a lot. I don't really announce much when I get stuff. I know there's several projects coming down the line that I can't wait to talk about. One I'm very excited to talk about, because it's like a childhood thing.
Yeah.
But
That's awesome. That sounds exciting. That sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Just got to be a part of it, But alas, I can't talk about it.
Well, we're happy for you regardless, even if you can't talk about it. We'll probably turn this into a video, because this is a cool conversation. Not over yet, but we'll put on all the links in the description below. So I found James on Twitter, but he also streams on Twitch pretty regularly, to be honest. Like keeping a regular schedule.
That's true. Like you just, I'll be fair. I don't. I think I have a lot to figure out in terms of streaming, using Twitch and stuff like that. Like a lot to learn before I start having 30 people on my stream too. But for the most part, just at least I'm on there, having fun, being silly, goofy.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So, what are you thinking about our project for the Visa story? What are your thoughts? I mean, there's nothing to reveal here because the story is like,
it's already out. Yeah.
It's already out, but the same with the Albaz stuff I did. Nobody told it the way I told it in that video. Not to like toot my own horn, of course, but like, it's like
the voiceover and the narration, right? Yeah.
The narration and like putting it into a story, and again filling in those gaps that Konami doesn't really do. They give you like a taste of it, except for like anime stuff, of course. Which if you're looking at 5D Zeros cards, you can actually connect the dots because there is a show that tells that story. But now we don't have that anymore. Maybe it's one of your secret projects. Who knows? But
no, it's not.
No, it's not. No, don't say that.
No.
No.
Start it.
So how are you feeling about
imagine an
this question?
Imagine an Albaz anime though.
I mean, people are just look at the comments on the video.
Like, chat. How many of you guys would love to see an Albaz anime, or maybe Sky Striker or Elemental Heroes? I don't know what.
Yeah,
Something like that.
something modern, like then just
Yeah.
the new era. But the thing is that the Albaz story is better than most stories told on like human characters in Yu-Gi-Oh previously. Like as a story, it's like imagine if there's like Link Reigns 2 or whatever in the future, like the next show is like the Albaz cards as cards is just a waste of a story, right? It's just a waste. Like you put so much energy on telling probably the most coherent story. Now we're seeing some of it with Visas too, which is like a coherent story about a person, how he feels, the way he interacts with people. It's like a whole universe built into card lore. It's a waste to put it in cardboard, you know? It's just a waste.
Well, what I'll say is sometimes things ramp up like this. It takes years, right? We already seeing manga adaptations of archetypes with the Sky Striker manga, right? So I would say don't lose hope yet. I would, if it was me, I would be saying let's see how the Sky Striker manga is received, and to gauge our risk before dumping more resources into something as expensive as an anime would be, right? You know what I mean? But I can definitely see like an Albaz one kind of with the same tone as Dark Side of Dimensions was. You know, it's still for kids, but it had a darker tone to it.
That's exactly what I was going to talk about. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I talked about it in one of the last podcasts I did. I don't remember when I talked about it, but there was I think a couple of weeks ago there was a shareholders meeting for Konami, where shareholders in Japan shared their thoughts about like how they do this every year, how the game is running in their perspective, because they are the ones that invest in Konami. There were some points about like not bringing in enough new players into the game, and I did a video about that, and I talked about the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh as a card game is still relatively marketed for children or younger people. It still feels that way. I don't know how many, YCSs or championship tournaments you saw on stream, but the ads for the cards are like, more in the tone of the animes that we had so far in English, which is a little bit more geared into to children more than adults. And when you look at Magic the Gathering, for example, which has a total different philosophy on how the game is marketed, and of course it has much more adult content, they do 1 minute cinematics like World of Warcraft cinematic style for every set that comes out. So you see the characters come to life. What are your thoughts about, like, you might have gotten a little bit into it, the Visa story?
It seems like it has a lot of potential to be a nice, complex, but fun sci-fi adventure, right? The lack of information, detailed information, lets people kind of go wild with their own imagination, which I think is by design, really. There's a lot, you can kind of do whatever you want with it. It seems like, in terms of, obviously there's main story points, but yeah, I just think that that's one of the cool parts of Yu-Gi-Oh that people don't talk about enough, like just the lore behind the cards. Sometimes it's easy to get behind. I think it's the way the cards are designed, right? It's easy to not think about the lore as much if they're not involved directly with an anime, because they're just pictures usually. I mean, obviously there's normal monsters that have details about the monster directly, but not necessarily, you don't feel like necessarily you're being taught lore too much compared to Magic, where every card has like almost like a quote or a text that seems like it's from a novel,
Yep.
like a Lord of the Rings style novel of some sort, which it probably is. Now that I think about it, so that's maybe something that could work in the future. I don't know. They have the room to fit that in there now, but yeah, like that. But that's the thing. I think things like wanting an Albaz anime was the intention. You know.
You think it was
So,
the
I mean,
intention of like when they designed the story that people will want something like that?
Yeah, because it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort, and I feel like you make things that have versatility in multiple types of media when you get that big, right? So that if you want to, and you see there's a demand for it, that you can go that direction,
See the people's reactions.
Yeah, and that's what I think. And that's a safe way of doing things, because if something fails and that's a lot of money down the drain, you probably had to convince some higher ups about doing it in the first place.
Definitely.
It's probably a lot of business. It's still a business, guys. So even though it's a fun product, I would love to see now that's anime. I'm probably not thinking about the business side of it while I'm enjoying a good animation, right?
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
There's a lot of headaches involved in making something like that, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's also the thing about I'm sure there might be some considerations about like Japan and the US together in this, because it needs to originate, like if we're looking at how it's been done so far. I don't know about Rush Duel. I mean, Sevens up until now, was it also first in? It was also before in Japan, right?
Yep, absolutely. I'm not sure how long it was between like the first episode of the Japanese, the original, and then the English dub. I don't remember, but it had to been like at least a few years, right?
But they probably had like the idea of like, okay, it's probably going to be in English too.
Yeah, I'm sure they had the idea of doing that, especially with a new format like Rush Duel, right?
Yeah, you want as many people into it.
Yeah, they made a game for it. They're selling product off it. This was definitely a multi-pronged attack, I guess I would say.
Yeah. So in terms of like Albaz stuff, it's gonna be honestly, it's gonna be like the first time that it's ever been done in Yu-Gi-Oh! If something like that happens.
Yeah.
But also, the Albaz story itself is a sort of a first time in Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. Like, I mean, again, I haven't been playing for years. We had the World Legacy lore. Before that, with Orcust and, the World Legacy and Ib and stuff like that.
That's true. Yeah.
That was pretty elaborate as well. There were like some chapters of like, Yu-Gi-Oh! That had that lore, but I don't think it was necessarily in the point of view of one character, which is what they're doing with Albaz and also Visas too. Dual Terminal and World Legacy were like pretty intricate lores, but they were more like world building rather than a person's or a character's perspective or like a journey, right? Which is exactly what happens with Albaz. He goes through a journey from beginning to end. There's a protagonist, there's an antagonist, there's supporting characters. Same thing with Visas. He's the protagonist of the story. And we by the way, we don't know how that story ends yet, which is why it's even fun to speculate a little bit about how it's gonna go. We have some hints, but not more than that. So I think again, it's like a first time for Yu-Gi-Oh! In a sense where this is one, like Albaz is one of the first stories that actually took that approach of looking at the story from one character's perspective. Okay, my phone died, which means that we got to wrap this up because I got to get take my dogs out for a walk, and we're going to end the stream pretty soon. But first of all, James, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. We wanted to do something together on stream for a while, so really happy we got to do that.
Definitely.
Shout yourself out on socials. Tell people where to find you.
Guys, if you want to jam out with your boy, definitely follow me. JamBuzzVO throughout most of the popular social media. You can find me really easy. JamBuzzVO on Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter.
It's always going to be Twitter.
Instagram, TikTok. But I stream on Twitch, Jambuds VO as well. We do play Master Duel, so if you want to go in there and watch me get sent to the Shadow Realm, that's fine. It's fine, I get it. But we also play other games too. We play a lot of Hoyoverse stuff like Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail recently. That's kind of what we're doing right now. But we might start to add other games too, very soon. So come through, hang out with your boy.
Yeah, definitely do that. And if you're watching this as a VOD, I'm going to put all the links down in the description. You know where to find them. And, of course, stick around because our Visas project is slowly coming together. And we're putting a lot of love and effort into it so that it's good. And, again, like having James on this project is like I couldn't give up that option because if we're doing something that no one's ever done before, then let's do it all the way, properly. This is what we're doing for you guys.
Yeah. It definitely should be fun.
All right, dude. Catch me at another time to teach you how to play Brandon Master Duel. Do this again.
Yeah, I'll pop in. If you guys don't mind, I'll pop in from time to time.
All right, dude. I'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by.
See you guys later.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was awesome, right?